した。だからスバルくんのせいです。ゴロゴロゴロゴロゴロゴロゴロゴロゴロ。
What is going on, YouTube? It is Squids. How you guys doing today? So today I decided to do a one for my collection I just recently watched on the other day. Was completely shocked and surprised about it. Was not expecting it to be this good. I am a big fan of rom-coms and all that fun stuff. I suppose with Valentine's Day right around the corner, what a better series to review. Figured I'd start off the ball just giving a box set review. I know it's not a new one, but it's a recent one. So this is Real Girl. It is a nice chipboard. Very, you know, it's got that like 80s pop vibe to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's pretty neat. Chipboards hit and miss with me. Obviously, that's pretty much all of them come in. But you know, especially with like a white, has got a little tiny little scuff on it, a couple. But other than that, it's a pretty nice box set. Then it comes with obviously all 24 episodes. Then it comes with this book here. Kind of neat. And pretty much this book is, I haven't actually looked through it yet, but looks like a couple little pieces of fan art slash like maybe a little panel art. And it kind of just goes through like characters, you know, their artwork and art style. Then after that, it looks to me like it just kind of goes through essentially the episodes and plot summaries. So that's kind of neat, you know, get a little stills of that. Kind of cool to have. Then you get, of course, then you get a Hikari over here in the night sky. And in the back, it showed Igarashi-chan in California. So, comes with that. Then on top of that, I haven't opened this up yet, but it is some art cards. Give her a look together here. There. All right. Okay. Seasons aren't anything special. They're kind of like that regular print laminate card style. But it looks like this one has Hikari and Igarashi-chan chilling after the contest. Then it looks like you get Takanashi and Ishiro. Okay, and then you have Ayaro and Ippo. And then a adult one of Hikari and Igarashi. They're pretty neat. I don't remember the exact price on this one, but if I remember correctly, it's not relatively expensive. I'd probably say around the $70-some mark. Which, I mean, I guess for some is expensive, but considering the facts of what, you know, usual box sets go for, all in all, it's really not that bad. So if you're interested, I definitely recommend it. I go to, like I've said in my past videos, I go to Right Stuff Anime. That is my plug for all my essential otaku needs. So with that out of the way, I suppose let's just get into the meat and potatoes and just go over the show. Why not? So, Real Girl, like I said, like a romance kind of drama comedy. I was just expecting the usual, you know. I knew it was 24 episodes. I didn't, you know what to expect. I didn't read anything into it. But by I guess, I don't know if it was a core or a second season. But either way, once you get to that second half, the later the first half even possibly, it draws you in so hard. Like, I was already interested. I've seen a lot of people complain, watching reviews about it, about how the backgrounds are shit, it's boring, and I honestly don't think they made it to the second season, to be honest with you, because holy crap. So The visuals, the character designs they're classic. As you can see, they're very neutral, pastel-y, and the backgrounds are almost like I want to say watercolor, but like a very it's realistic, but it's got that nice touch to it, and I enjoyed that very much. It really fit the theme of the show and what they were going for. I'm pretty sure this one's based off a manga, but I don't know for sure. So, I like I said, it's one of those shows. It kept me going the whole time, but I'm pretty easy to please too, and you can make it past the first 10-11 episodes. It's gonna draw you in. It had me laughing, it had me crying. I had some heartbreak, and then conclusively, it was a pretty good ending. Honestly, the way they do it, and it brings it all together. And on top of that, they grew. I mean, there was development. They grew. It showed their high school times, after high school. I highly recommend this one. This one made it onto my anime list with season 1 was an 8, season 2 was a 9, and I don't have many 9s. I have 1, 2 10s tops on my hundreds I've watched. So I highly recommend this one if you're into that thing. So now I think I'm going to go into more of the spoiler territory. So with that, you have been warned. So now that we're into spoiler territory, I will do the best I can and not go over the whole plot synopsis necessarily, but give you a general rundown of everything that kind of goes down and hopefully draws your interest to it, because that's what you're here for, right? So essentially the plot runs around Hikari. He's the main character. He is I think they're 18-year-olds because they're seniors, 17 going into senior year. So 17-year-old otaku, kind of a shut-in. They call him a NEET. And he lives obviously with mom and dad and brother, and then he's got his best friend who's Ito, and he's also a weeb, kind of more of a neko-ish weeb, which is kind of cool, you know. So you pretty much, the first few episodes, you're kind of dealing with them and their life and how their friendship's working out. And then eventually we get introduced to Igarashi, and the rumor on the street is that she's kind of a hoe bag and an asshole, but you come to find out that essentially nobody actually really is friends with her, and they just make all that rumors up because she's a good looking girl, which is sad, but it's realistic, but it's sad. And after that, we start to meet Ishiro, who is a classmate of Hikari and Ito. You know, she's kind of very opinionated and stuck up, and but at the same time, she's a very caring friend, you come to find out. And so a little time goes by, you learn a little bit about Hikari, and next thing you know, Igarashi is pretty much asking him to date him. Asking him to date her. And you know, he's never had a girlfriend. He doesn't really he only has like 1.5 friends, and you know, so that's going on. And he, you know, at first he's like, no, I ain't gonna be your friend. And so that's going down. Long story short, one time Hikari gets a cold from protecting Igarashi from the rain, and he's wearing a mask to school, and he has like a fever and a cough and stuff, and she's like, I'll take the sickness from you, and she kisses him and puts his mask back on, and he didn't know what to do at that point. He was so flustered and everything. So that goes down. You know, it had a lot of ups and downs. They start getting closer as a couple. Then we also get introduced we also get introduced to Takanashi, who is kind of an asshole at first. We're kind of going along, and Hikari is there's a little girl in the park after, you know, he's had a rough day at school, and he's like, are you lost, you know, whatever, and she's like, yeah, I can't find my brother, and he's like, well, should we call the cops and everything, and then like right after that, Takanashi shows up, and he hates him because he wants to have Igarashi as his girlfriend. We find out a little before this, and So he's like, calls the cops, has his little sister scream and like act like he's abducting her and gets him in trouble, and the whole school thinks he's a pedophile. But you know, Ito and Igarashi know he's not. And long story short, he ends up apologizing to him, and because we find out that Takanashi's little sister is dating Hikari's little brother, Karu, if I pronounced that right. And so that goes down. A little time passes. We meet a girl named Ayato. And she's running to school one day and runs into Hikari, and a book just spills everywhere. And what happens with that is, you know, he's like, oh, sorry, you know, in a rush to school. And Hikari drops this brand new release of pretty much like a Shonen Jump magazine, like this new weekly article for manga chapters. And she's trying to chase him down, you know, senpai, and it doesn't work. So the school day goes on, and he kind of freaks out at the end of the day because he just bought it and he ain't even read it yet. He's leaving the school, and Ayato goes up to him and says, oh, senpai, you dropped this. And so there was that, and then they become friends. And after that, like a day or a couple days pass, and you know, him and Igarashi get in a fight over some stuff, mostly because you'll find out as we go through the show that Hikari is a straight otaku who has no social skills, especially in the first, like, I'd say half 3/4 of the show. So he goes to her, and you know, he's talking, and she freaks out, and she pretty much asks what she means to her, and it means to him, and you know, whatever. So, you know, a little life goes on. We come to kind of find out that Ishiro and Takanashi, they don't. Oh, Ishiro has a crush on Takanashi, and Takanashi essentially doesn't reciprocate it whatsoever. But all of them, Hikari, Igarashi, Ito, Ishiro, and Ayato, yeah, they all go on the camping trip that Ishiro invites them on because it's summertime. Unrealistic, she just wants the cabin clean so she can get some money. But it is, you know, what you do. So that goes down, and after that, some drama happens. You know, we find out that Ayato, they're going fishing, and she falls in and gets a cold when they get back, and she's cooking food, and she burns her hand, and Hikari runs up to her and is running in cool water, and they're getting really close. So Igarashi gets really jealous and runs away. And like, well, not quite yet. I guess I lied, back that up. She gets really jealous, and Ayato gets carried upstairs because she's about to collapse. And when they bring her upstairs, what happens essentially is Igarashi's going to check on her because she's like, maybe I'm just being too jealous or something. She's just a friend. Well, come to find out, she's got a crush on Hikari, and she tells her that she loves him. So Igarashi runs to the woods. She's freaking out at this point, you know. And Hikari and Ishiro go chasing after her because he's an idiot. And they get that all kind of cleared up between him and her. You know, he loves her to death. He really does. She's like everything to him. And after that happens, it goes essentially along the lines of, you know, the next day he's trying to figure out how to fix things because his girlfriend's pissed. His friend won't talk to him, and especially, I guess, because technically Ito, it's kind of along at this point, he has a crush on Ayato, ironically. So he's pissed at Hikari, and Igarashi's pissed at Hikari, and Ayato won't talk to Hikari. So what do I do? So he figures out kind of a plan, and he goes and talks to Ayato, and kind of calms the situation down, and invites his girlfriend out to the bush to meet him. And he tells her, you know, you're an awesome friend and everything, but I love Igarashi. She's my girl. And obviously, in the sad first time denial for her too, she runs away all sad. But you know, Igarashi and Hikari make up and they kiss and yada yada yada. So after that, I guess the next biggest kind of like plot point is we find out that Igarashi has to move in 6 months, and this is kind of where things get a little intense. Hikari ends up getting a job working as like an animal tosser, He's like an animal guy dressed up as a bear, handing out balloons. And so he's doing that, and to save up to buy her a ring as a gift, because I guess a little bit before that we actually meet Igarashi's brother, Shingo, and he really hates Igarashi. He was all abroad doing school, and come to find out that he's very protective of her. He's technically her half brother, so he's not even like a full brother. And but he's like, if you're not gonna be serious, I want you out of here. And he's like, I am serious. So he ends up getting her a ring that he works for, because she's getting mad because he's not walking home with her every night. And so that goes on, and he gives her the ring, and because she's been asking, she's getting really worried. So he's like, hey, I wanted to get you a better one, but I couldn't. So that happens. And then after that, so essentially Ito and Ayado, he likes her, and he kind of asks her out, and she just denies him because she just got turned down, by Hikari. And later on, they kind of get together finally, and they start dating, and he's the first one actually to have sex out of the 3 couples with her. So one of the weeaboos has sex, and Hikari is curious, so he asks him about it. He's got a response. So later on, Ishiro is going on a date with Takanashi, because she somehow got him to do it, and they go and get ramen at a ramen house. And with that all being done, she's like, maybe you could take me on another date sometime. So they're kind of going through a little struggle themselves, that couple. And a little time passes on. You kind of like, I'm gonna skip most of the rest. I don't want to spoil too much, but I'll get you that. Later on, we find out, I'm skipping, I'd say quite a few episodes, but Hikari and Igarashi actually go on a trip, because towards the end of the series, he knows it's getting close to her moving, so he writes this list of everything he wants to do with her before she goes. And she finds this in his book, because Ito actually confronted her because his grades were going down really bad, like he's doing really bad, he's always an A student. And she's like, I don't know, he says he's doing fine. So she goes through that, and she starts crying and writes one thing on there that you find out a little later on, but we'll go over that when we get there. And so they go to this like hotel, because they're trying to stay in this other town, because they took a train there, and there's no train going back at this time of night anyways. So they checked like 4 or 5 no answers, and they walk past this guy, and he's kind of a rundown guy too, picking them out type of dude. He's like, no, I don't got no, fuck you, whatever. And so they're walking away, and they're just like, oh man, I don't know, we're gonna make it back, I'm sorry, hon. And he stops him, he's like, wait, come on in, and so they come in, he treats them with hospitality, and he gives them nice food, and they talk about life a little bit, and it's time for bed. And then Igarashi and Hikari actually have coitus, which is what he's seen that she wrote down in there. He's found this, she found it. And he's got a complete opposite, actually, Ito. He's like a new man. And kind of while that's going on at the same time, Ishiro and Takanashi go out on another date to an aquarium, while Hikari's little brother and Takanashi's little sister go on a date. And so they do that. And it kind of ends up a little bad, because the younger siblings run away because Takanashi doesn't want them together, especially because he's Hikari's little brother. And that goes kind of bad, but along that little timeline of things, they go, she comes back to the house a couple days later or whatever, and makes food for everybody, and Takanashi essentially makes Ishiro cry, and the little sister gets mad about it, and like, they fall in love. He chases her down, he has like a realization, maybe I'm an asshole, she's actually pretty cute, so they end up starting dating. All that's going down. They get back from the trip. We'll skip back to Hikari, because that's pretty much what you need to know about them. And you find out actually she only has 6 months. Oh, she had 6 months. She is technically moving, but it's not for what you think it is. It's because they don't exactly say it, but she's got like a tumor or something in her brain that needs removed, and when likely it's gonna have her have memory loss. And oh man, it's so rough. So that happens, and she just essentially after that quits talking to everybody because there's like a couple weeks left at this point, and Hikari can't handle it. He goes to school, he's a ghost, and everybody bully him, and Takanashi's like, dude, it's a girl, she moved, shit happens, move on. And you know, he's like, you know, whatever. So he goes to the roof, and Ito actually comes out, and he's like, what's really going on, man? So he explains to him what happens, and everybody understands, I guess, after that. But Hikari can't stand not being able to see her again, you know, at least say goodbye. So, because I guess technically the whole time, Karuru, no, not Karuru, oh my god, fucking Shinjo, Igarashi's brother, is pretty much, you know, he's against Hikari, like I said. He fucking hates him for some reason. So that's going on. But he's like, you know, you should break it up. I'm not even saying that as a brother, but like, it's only gonna be harder for him. I think he actually starts to like him, especially. So what I'm getting back to is he ends up camping out in front of their house until he can at least talk to her. And the brother tries kicking him out, and he stays there all day. And his brother just starts walking away, leaves the door open finally, because he's like, look, man, you obviously clearly care about her. So he goes in, he talks to her, and she kind of has a breakdown, and they go to the school and do some stuff and swimming, and then she ends up telling him this is goodbye, just so you know, like it has to be goodbye. So it ends up being goodbye. A little time passes on. Their college exams come up. He aces it because I guess technically speaking, his mother talked to him, and she was like, "Look, man, do you really think that Igarashi would want you to be a sad sack like this? She would want you to keep moving on and doing the best that you can do for yourself." And it was really touching. And so yeah, he ends up acing it. Everybody passes and goes to college. There is a 7-year time skip to the ending, and when that happens, Takanashi and Ishiro are having a baby and getting married. Ito is an animated engineer, and Hikari works at some pristine company doing PC stuff, and they're all doing pretty well off. So the wedding happened, or not exactly. So that's happening. Hikari is actually a pretty busy guy. All his coworkers are trying to ask him out on dates and stuff. He's like, no, I gotta go home. And he just ends up watching Ito's anime, which is pretty cool. You know, like a solid friendship. And one day he's leaving work, and out of nowhere, Shingo's there, Igarashi's brother, and he hasn't heard from her, seen from her in the last 7 years since she left. But he also hasn't dated anybody either, so it's the one and only true love she really had. And behind him was actually her, and she has her hair shorter. They just came back to Japan to check stuff, and decided she wanted to move back or stay in Los Angeles. So that happens, and like when they come back, she kind of sees a couple things in the room because they left a lot of her possessions there. She sees this keychain. She's like, man, I had terrible taste of the tea. It was ugly. Then she kind of gets like a little glimpse of Hikari, and because like I said, she actually does end up losing a good chunk of her memory, and so she ends up being behind him, her brother, after work at the parking rampish area, and essentially what he tells, I guess right after that too, the brother and her have a discussion, and he's like, do you want to move back? You want to stay? She's like, I want to move back. And she asks what she was like as a teenager, and he kind of tells her. He's like trying to coax her to, always be with her, and you find out that he's pretty much like, look, honestly, if you wanted the one person that loved you the most in your entire fucking life, it was Hikari. So they go find him, and she asks him what the significance of the keychain is and who he is, and he kind of doesn't really want to say anything. He gives her a big hug and cries because she's alive. He just doesn't want to get involved because he knows she's moving back to LA. So he's walking away, and she throws a fit. She wants to know, and she starts crying, and he tells her who he is, and they have a huge hug, and everything's going great. So everybody goes to the wedding. Ito, Ishiro, Takanashi, Hikari. Ayado does not. You find out she's actually married at this point in time. Shit happens. And after that, what essentially goes down is the wedding happens. They throw the bouquet, and Hikari catches it, of course. And when they're looking out in the distance, they see Igarashi, and they freak out, and everybody just gets happy and excited, and obviously Hikari knew she was there. And it turns out to be this really great, awesome bonding time. There's one more little time skip, and what happens is it's another wedding, and Ayado actually shows up this time, and she ends up getting divorced, and her and Ito kind of come back together. You can kind of tell they might start dating again. But it ends up being Hikari and Igarashi's wedding, and it is one of the most subtle, sweet things ever. I loved it. Like I said, it was wholesome. It was great. It had good development. The animation it wasn't superb, but it was good, and it had a conclusion. Honestly, I recommend this to pretty much anybody and everybody. If you got a chance, give Real Girl a shot. Highly recommend this stuff. I watched it in 2 days. It was so quick. I couldn't even freaking wait. So yeah, with that being said and out of the way, thanks for watching the review. I'll have another video coming out next week. And with that, have a good day. Have a good day. Or whatever time it is, have a good one. This has been Squids, and I will see you guys next week.